Oh hey, welcome back. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between an Alnico 5 set of Jaguar pickups and an Alnico 2 set? Well, if you have, you're in luck because we're about to find out. All the information about the gear I'm using is going to be in the description box below, and at the end of the video I'll share my thoughts on what the differences are between these two sets of pickups. Before we begin, just bear in mind that we're comparing apples and apples here, not apples and oranges. We're not expecting to hear a night and day difference between the two pickup sets, and if you can't hear a difference, that's okay. But what this video is for is to try and highlight those nuances that there are between Alnico 2 and Alnico 5 pickups, specifically in the context of Jaguar pickups. With that being said, here we go. So I hope you were able to hear some differences between the two pickup sets there, but if not, don't worry, that's okay. I hope the annotations that I put on the screen were useful, at least in trying to tune your ear to different aspects of the sound in the different clips, and to try and appreciate some of the subtle differences that there were, at least to my ear, between the two different pickup sets. Initially, when I first put the Alnico 5 set in and replaced the Alnico 2 set, I actually found them really hard to adjust to, and I was surprised how much difference, at least in the room, there is between the two sets. I found the Alnico 5 set to be much louder, kind of much brasher and harsher when compared to the Alnico 2 set, and I really struggled to adjust to that change. But actually, once I did get used to it, I actually really enjoyed the increased output, the fatter low end, and just the more aggressive character overall of the Alnico 5 set. But now, having listened back to these clips, interestingly, I actually prefer the recorded sound of the Alnico 2 set. Even though they are quieter and have less low end and aggression, there's just something that I really like about the sound of the Alnico 2s. They have a much more balanced sound in terms of their frequency response. The high end is kind of round and sweet, and they have that really nice kind of sizzly, biting upper mid thing that I really enjoy. Interestingly, I was particularly expecting to prefer the Alnico 5 Jag pickup in the neck position. The reason is that I quite often struggle with neck pickups. I find them to be too dark, I find them to be too muddy and indistinct, and there's never really an application where I would choose to play the neck pickup over the middle position or the bridge pickup. And so I was really expecting to prefer the Alnico 5 pickup because I associate Alnico 5 pickups with tighter low end and more kind of high end or treble content. And I thought that that would create a much more clear, bright pickup that I would much prefer. And while there is a tighter low end response with the Alnico 5 and more high end response, there's just more low end in general and more output and noticeably less mid-range. And that created a tone that actually seemed more muffled to me, and in some ways was more of what I dislike about neck pickups than the Alnico 2. I was really surprised hearing the Alnico 2 back how much clearer it is and how much more balanced it is, just because of the increased mid-range and the lower output and less low end in the sound. So that's a big surprise to me. I associate Alnico 2 with kind of a loose low end and less highs, which I assumed would create a duller, bassier neck pickup sound that I would like less. So that's a big surprise for me. Overall, I think I'd characterize the Alnico 2 pickups as having a softer attack and having a much flatter frequency response. There's less high end, there is less low end, and there is more mid-range. Actually, comparing them with the Alnico 5 set, they almost seem to be like a step towards Jazzmaster pickups in that regard. A less direct sound with a softer attack that had a flatter frequency response with more mid-range was, obviously it's not the same as a Jazzmaster pickup, but it was almost like a Jaguar pickup had taken a step in the direction of being a little bit more like a Jazzmaster pickup. Overall, I definitely prefer that more balanced, even sound of the Alnico 2s, particularly with that lovely upper mid, kind of sizzly, almost metallic kind of sound that they have, that still retains a roundness and a sweetness. I really like that sound. I think if I was going to be playing a heavier style all the time, I would definitely prefer the Alnico 5 pickups for that increased output, fatter low end, and just more aggressive sound overall. But for most other styles of music, particularly cleaner playing or lower gain playing, I think the more balanced sound with more mid-range from the Alnico 2s are definitely a big winner for me. Just much more pleasing to the ear, to my ear. A big thing for me with my sound is that I really like clarity and note definition, and I just found that the increased mid-range and reduced low end really just kind of got me closer to the sound that I like, a really nice, clear, sweet sound. So big win, in my opinion, for the Alnico 2s. Well, which set was your favourite? I'd be really interested to hear how much of a difference you can hear between the two sets, and just your thoughts, which ones you prefer and which ones you would choose if you were going to buy a set. I hope this has been useful and interesting, and until the next time, take it easy, and I'll see you soon.